Hello, my name is Yudao. I am a monk here at SokukoJi. If you are inspired by these talks and these teachings, please consider joining us for our other forums, online or in person, and also consider helping us financially. We could use your support if you are able. Thank you.
A little bit more, we call it an illusion to counter the people's tendency to believe so deeply and so thoroughly, this is real, and I can hear my footsteps across the floor, and I hear the birds, and I can make a sound, and I have all kinds of control. If this is an illusion, how could I have anything you say so about anything? And fundamentally, you don't have say so. That's the next step in seeing the illusion. Go ahead.
Kanjama, you say we don't have say so. We don't really have choice. Again,
looks like it. Go ahead.
How can that actually be when it looks like this is real, so solid, and it looks like we have choice? Like you're saying, I am able to move my hand.
Yes. So the very hand that's being moved is unreal. It's dependent on everything else, and the interdependency is so extensive that we tend to ignore that in order to focus or attach to the singularity that we see, which is a person, another person, several other people, windows, things that are relatively dependable. The building has been here for many years. The floor is the same carpeting that was here 15 years ago. So there's so much consistency and duration that the mind tends to fasten down on those things to reinforce the perception that this is real. And we need to do this and do that. Don't do this, but do that. But we're fooled by it. Most of the world, billions of people operate out of this being real and something that they can do something about. And that's not wrong. It's just a misunderstanding.
Kanjama bowing. So when you say you can see what is actually showing up, you can see not separate.
Yes.
When you look at me, what are you actually seeing? Can you see dependent origination?
Yes.
How does that show up?
As an illusion that is apparent. It shows up. If it didn't show up, it wouldn't be an illusion. Just that it shows up is the illusion part of it.
What does a dependent origination look like? When you see me, you say you see dependent origination. I would think that would be a lot of causes and conditions coming together, coalescing into this body-mind complex.
That's a very good way of saying it. But that shows the attachment to the causation. And the result shows the attachment to plus and minus, up and down, back and forth, night and day. Night and day look like two different things. Only there is no such thing as night. I mean, if you went at it literally, I'm not trying to be cute or funny, there isn't any night. There's just the absence of light. Night isn't a thing. Even the sun isn't a thing. Sun goes away, there's darkness. That's the relative way of looking at it. More.
I don't follow that.
It's a polarity. The appearance of a polarity is an illusion. Neither one of them have any real meaning.
So
we give it meaning by grasping on good or grasping on wrong or bad or blaming or giving credit or they're valuable, they're doing a wonderful thing. I'm doing really good, or no, I'm not doing so good right now. Polarity. But
Kanjama bowing, I understand that whatever shows up is an illusion. So the moon or the sun shows up or doesn't show up. Yes. Night and day is what we call that. What is it about the polarity, the polarity that shows that this is dependent origination? What about the polarity shows dependent origination?
that whatever shows up is dependent on,
Oh.
go ahead. You can answer the question yourself?
Conjure bowing, are you saying that,
Did you just understand something?
I don't know,
Well,
I
what
wanted
do
to
you-
verify. Can I
Certainly. Go ahead.
check?
Of course.
Are you saying that the polarity shows us dependent origination just because one part of the opposite, one part of the, like the light is dependent on dark, dark is dependent on light, and that is dependent origination in and of itself?
It is.
I had not understood that.
Do you feel like you understand it better right now? Or?
Better, maybe,
Well,
not completely.
okay. What would completely look like?
Well, the teaching, and you point that it's a not knowing.
Okay. What the hell does that mean? How can that be interesting?
How-
Not know something.
What does not knowing look like?
An illusion. Looks unreal. But the intensity of it is always offsetting the grasping at it's an illusion because it seems so real. It seems real. Nerve endings are telling you. Nerve endings on the fingertips, in the body, nerve endings in the ear, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. All of these are receivers that receive something that reify and reinforce the illusion that there's a separate being, that there's a somebody who's happy, a somebody who's miserable, a somebody who's bored or neutral.
And there is an illusion, correct?
Illusion is a word to describe what this actually is. If it has any kind of identity at all, it's unreal. It's an illusion.
Kanjama bowing, how is it that our questions and teaching that is so focused on this illusion or what we call reality, how is that helpful in seeing beyond this illusion, beyond the reality that is showing up?
Because the basic non-dual teaching is nothing is separate. So even the beyond situation is some kind of beyond something. It's more duality. But that's why you need to, that's why the teaching says, that's why this person says, whatever arises, just look at it. Don't leave what arises for what you think about it. Or don't leave what arises for what it must mean or what it leads to. Don't do anything, just receive, receive, receive. Everything. You practice doing that on the cushion. You could hear that teaching or that conceptual teaching out in the world, everyday society. Philosophers quite often have something similar going, but there's no mind training there. There's no training of the mind, of the awareness itself, because just the awareness itself, the identity starts to fall apart. So it doesn't feel good to meditate. So someone has to have quite a bit of inspiration, quite a bit of sensing there's something deep about the nature of being a living being that I'd like to know about. And there's a few human beings who have looked into that and have been teachers. Most people are not interested in this. And it's not wrong, there's just not time for them to even look at that. May never be time. They might be just content with their everyday life, going to work, having a job, bowling, going hunting, mowing the lawn, enjoying their children, just all kinds of relative things that keep us from looking at the insubstantiality of a living being. Most people are kind of completely blocked off that they're going to die. Whereas someone who practices the way, you know that death comes without warning. You know it. This all can come to an end. Comes to an end every night that you go to sleep. And starts up again. More.
Kanjama bowing. So you're saying that we look at basically one end of the polarity until we don't know?
Look at either end of it. whatever shows up, it could be not much, look at that. It could be a thought, an idea, an emotion showing that is related to somebody, some other situation that caused that to arise. Just receive it. Just look at it and receive it. In other words, if it comes towards you and doesn't feel so good, receive it anyway. Otherwise, we're just at war with everything, or we're at war, or we're at peace. The polarity keeps going, the circularity.
Kandra Mabali, can we receive anything other than the illusion? That's what's showing up over and over and over again.
Yes, and for a while, you'll be possibly talking to yourself and saying that what I'm experiencing is an illusion. Sure seems real. And you might daydream for a while when you're on the cushion meditating, thinking about something. You might fall asleep, you might focus on somebody walking through the door, coming in to sit, and they're making too much noise with the door or something like that. Little odds and ends will show up. Or I keep thinking about this or that, keep having these little skirmishes with ourselves in sitting meditation. And then other times you might sit and not even know you've even been sitting, just like Yoko was saying earlier. You're not sure if you were asleep or not, but some time went by. I don't know what that is. Some people might call that samadhi. Some people might call it drowsiness. Others might not know what it is.
So we look at whatever shows up.
Just receive. Look at it, observe, and receive, because when you observe it, it'll start to change its dynamic, whether it's an emotion or a memory of something that happened yesterday. And it won't just come straight forward. It'll start to get fillers. What you think about it, why it shouldn't have happened, why it did happen, who's to blame for how I feel. Those kind of things, we start to look very, very closely at that over time. And just receive it. If you have an emotion or reaction to what happened, you don't get rid of that and say, well, that's just my reaction. Don't do that. The ego feeds off from that improvement project. That's why therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, all kinds of therapy are workable, and some people really need to do that. It should be. In this practice, what we're doing is we're trying to see what it is fundamentally, not just how we can fix it to feel better. A little bit different approach, not better, it's just different. You're just going to the source of the situation.
Kandra Mabali, so you're pointing at receiving.
Yes.
When I'm asking questions about whatever arises is an illusion?
Yes. Whatever arises is an illusion. It's not real. It's there, it's realistic. Like a movie is obviously an illusion, but it's realistic. It magnetizes us, seduces us into getting all caught up in the lives of the people in the movie. The people are in danger. We know it's not. We know it's not true, but yet we're magnetized by it. And the combination of knowing it's not true, but yet having the emotion of fear at the same time, sometimes called entertainment.
Kandra Mabali, again, I'm trying to look at illusion versus the ultimate. And
Okay.
You're pointing me back to looking at how we receive or how we get caught up in the illusion.
Yes. Just watch how you get caught up. You don't have to not get caught up. Just be aware of it.
Kandra Mabali, so that makes me think that when I'm looking at
It
the
makes you think.
yes, that when I'm looking at the illusion, it's not separate from wisdom. It's not separate from the ultimate.
That's true.
And I was calling the ultimate not knowing. But is that still a path because there's still someone who's
Not knowing.
not knowing?
Yes, it is. Don't stop there, let's keep going.
Wisdom and confusion are not separate.
No, they're not.
We look at confusion and see how we do not receive it.
Wisdom sees confusion. And when it sees confusion, it's like looking in a mirror. Just if you look in a mirror, there's only one entity there. It's you, not everything else is a reflection of you. Other people are a reflection of you. And they're looking at you, and you are a reflection of them, because there's only consciousness, no separate beings. If we believe they're separate beings, not that you're going to hurt your neighbor or your neighbor's going to hurt you, but that's the beginning of the separation that leads to the terrible things that are happening in the world, that little tiny skirmish between ourselves and our neighbors.
Ourselves and ourselves.
Yeah, starts within. What in your teaching, wouldn't that be called schizophrenia? As a therapist? No? What's schizophrenia?
Hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, and
Okay.
grandiosity.
Okay, then same thing.
At a diagnosable level. All of us have those things.
They do?
I would,
I mean, you say all of us, yeah, I'm talking about them.
us.
Look who else is here. More humans. Further question? That's a good area if you have more in that area. You can continue in that area. If the path quality is beginning to see that this is unreal, what would the fruition be? At the ground of suffering or difficulty or stress or confusion, which the whole world is working with, most of the world just covers it up, ignores it, or blames someone else. Ignorance and blaming someone, passion, or actually going in and stopping it or starting it or killing somebody is the extreme, which is aggression. Taking a whole country to war, aggression. Because the original problem, if you're the leader, is it's in you, but you can't deal with that, so you project it out in the world, and that's the enemy, and you go to war with them. So that's the path of the coward, narcissist, egomaniac, whatever word you want to give it. The spiritual path is to see that you aren't separate from anything. There is no enemy. But it won't necessarily be a conclusion, because then we're back to the polarity again. There's someone who concluded something. It's worse than that. It's better than that. It's worse because you get no reference point, and it's better than that because you don't need a reference point. You are your own grandpa. You ever heard that one? No, neither. Yeah. Amanda, have you heard that?
It seemed like I had.
You heard that?
It sounds familiar. But
It's a song I wrote a long time ago. More?
Didn't realize.
It's an interesting area because as you get towards, everyone here has heard the teaching of this is an illusion, but as you get to, the illusion is so thorough, not separate from anything else. There's no one who can actually see the illusion, but you think you see it, and then it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and more and more convincing until the final understanding, which is totally disappointing. There's no one to understand anything because it's an illusion. Even the one who sees it, the subjectivity that sees out there is an illusion too. So an illusion, you really can't see anything. And if it's an illusion, there isn't anything to be seen. This is why His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, many, many years ago, 1981, said nothing happens. All of the happenings, all the beliefs, the opinions, the judgments, the ideas, all the sitting meditation, everything's completely without reference point to something else. It's just that. This is the continuity that's talked about in the Vajrayana Buddhism.
What is the continuity?
The one that's talked about, Vajrayana Buddhism.
What is that?
Nothing happens. I didn't make that up, that statement.
It's so hard to fathom that this world and 8 billion people believe this illusion.
They do. And they hurt each other and hurt themselves and fight and scrabble and nothing happens. Open up to others if you like. So, questions for me or Kandrama? Either way. Starting in here.
Sheen had her hands up.
She's always ready. She has a whole stack of questions right behind her.
Yokabowing, when you were talking about continuity, what continuity implies continuing or continuous? What's continuous?
Something that doesn't start and doesn't end. Continuity. Something that does not start can't end. This is a relative terms that show up that have way before we showed up here, but that's a way of saying it. And I'm saying that because that's how it looks. Hasn't started. The body-mind complex comes and goes. Bodies come and go. We're born, we live for however length of time, and then we pass on, or the body does. But who you are, who you actually are, your actual identity, doesn't show up, can't go away. Nothing happens.
Yokabowing, so that continuity or what continues is something unseen? Bowing?
It's on everything. It's on. Japanese word for cloud. Un. What? Good question. If you can continue to go deeper into that, speaking of it relatively.
Yokabowing, when we see continuous things, that suggests then that we're seeing something that's not the continuity you're talking about. So what are we seeing if we seek something continuous?
If you seek something continuous, then you'll find variations on continuity. It's not about seeking that. It's about seeing the truth, the intention to see what this is. See what this is eventually. When I say eventually, as long as you can use the eventually because the illusion is the human form. The illusion is yesterday and tomorrow and the space of a building and other people. The continuity is extremely convincing. Most of the world is completely convinced of the whole thing of being real. Some good guys, some bad guys, but it's real. Whereas the spiritual path, you're going way more relative statement, but you're going way beyond that. It's sometimes called transcendence, but the actual transcendence, nothing actually happens. If it does, then we're right back into the loop of relative truth. I got enlightened and, oh my gosh, now I think I'm being confused again. That's why confusion or delusion and wisdom are not two separate things, because wisdom is not fooled by anything. Wisdom doesn't care whether confusion arises or delusion or anything. It's everything. It's like the sky. I The sky doesn't argue with birds or with rainbows or with hailstorms or tornadoes. It doesn't argue, it doesn't care what happens. A way of saying it. It also is not dismissive of it.
Bowing, if we see the polarity, will there be anything uncontinuous showing up?
Could be, if you're seeing it as an other, you're saying, oh, now I see the polarity, I see the duality and everything is supposed to be non-dual, so you can get trapped in that kind of figuring out, calculating kind of thing. And thinking about. It's not so much about that, it's about going beyond the thinking about things while not even moving at all.
Bowing, if nothing is moving at all, will there still be the polarity? Bowing?
Probably.
Bowing, when you say probably, is that pointing at the impermanence of it, Bowing?
Probably.
What's happening when we want to think about it or tweak what's happening?
We just want a reference point. We want to have, know it. We even want to have proof that we don't know. We want some kind of reference point, and ego is happy to supply that because it shows up in consciousness with all the reference points of the six sense fields, which it feels like somebody is seeing. Somebody's smelling, somebody's feeling, somebody's thinking. Somebody feels good, somebody doesn't feel so good. And we have a name as a reference point.
Bowing, can I ask Kandrama about the polarity situation? What happened, or what did you see when you mentioned that something, I don't know, struck you?
I don't recall, what was it? Insight fades, you know. Well, no, it was the dependent origination. I think of dependent origination as myriad causes and conditions coalescing into an object. So I had always envisioned dependent origination being seeing the million different causes and conditions that made Sokuzan, for example. And what he was pointing at was that it can also be just the polarity. The sun or the light is dependent on the dark. Is that true? Are both dependent origination?
Anything that shows up is dependent on everything else, for its apparent singularity as an identity, as a person. And one of the things that reinforces your sense of being here is this physical body situation. But consciousness is so powerful. Not your consciousness or my consciousness, but consciousness, which shows up in body forms, doesn't belong to anyone. It's so powerful that when that part that you've been grasping on while you're alive, and grasping onto an identity, when the body goes away, the consciousness still responds. Consciousness is very, very accommodating. And it will continue to be, it's called an astral body. It will recreate this body. So therefore you have sometimes it's called a ghost. People that think they're real and are not even aware they've died as a physical form. They're kind of, you could say, lack of perception is so lacking in perception, they don't realize that they've passed.
Do you see, not separate from the continuity you were pointing out earlier?
What is it you want to know?
continuity that you were pointing out in the Vajrayana teachings?
Continuity or tantra, it's just meant as a teaching device. Even that is still dependently risen. It's still a device, it's still a thing. It's just meant to get you to look at that.
But it points to,
It points to.
and so do you,
Continuity is the emptiness. It's continually empty, without any tick-tock.
and then I want
They're
to,
smiling, why aren't you smiling?
I want to,
Even Amanda's smiling.
tick-tock.
You're not on
The mouse
TikTok.
ran up the clock.
Oh, that,
Not that one.
That's hickory.
Did you get that?
that's hickory dickory TikTok.
Hickory dickory tick-tock?
She got a new song.
This Dharma talk is degrading into a
Let's rescue
terrible
it.
mess. Let's rescue it by going to Jishi.
Okay.
Jishi?
We also had Norbu too.
Oh, you have it? You have one? For me or for her?
For you,
Oh, for me, okay.
Nurbavai, is when you talk about continuity, where nothing happens, it doesn't arise, it doesn't die, is that permanent?
Is that what?
Permanent, is it permanence?
I didn't say anything about nothing dies. You said that.
I thought you said it doesn't arise and it doesn't
Oh, I
go
thought you said
away.
dies, but it doesn't
It's
show up.
not
in
born and it doesn't, so it doesn't
unceasing
die, it
and
doesn't
born.
show
Yeah,
up.
okay, got it. What was the
It's
question?
continuity,
Yes,
nothing
it is.
happens. Is that permanence?
No,
Why not?
because permanence is a setup as to oppose something that's impermanent. It's neither permanent nor is it impermanent. Not two. The two-ness is bleached out of it by your awareness of it. Yes.
Kandra buying. So do you see yourself as not separate from that?
I don't see anything if I look that way. I don't see it, I don't see anything.
Do you see something when you look this way?
I see an illusion. See an illusion when I look at the table or the altar. See an illusion when I look at the screen, at the tanka, at the window, the coffee, at everyone here. Unreal. Different dynamics. I'm not saying that you are the same as an altar, or that you're the same as a cup of coffee, but fundamentally unreal. They just show up.
Kandra bowing, but yet it's not separate from the continuity. Is that true?
What's not separate from it?
The table,
No, it's not separate.
but yet you see the illusion when you look at the table. You don't see continuity.
You can't really see continuity. If you look at anything, you see an illusion. And the illusion is changing, fluctuating, going this way, going that way, getting larger, getting smaller, getting warmer, getting cooler. It's just the nature of the way the dependent origination shows up, all the differentiation going on.
There's no differentiation in consciousness
No,
outside the illusion.
no, not outside the illusion. Just the illusion is the one that's running all over the place. And you just watch it. You don't believe it. You don't disbelieve it. You don't ignore it. And you learn that by sitting on the cushion and this is your own chemistry lab. Sit down, hold still, and just you become your own teacher. You might need a little bit of a boot from your teacher, direction, but when you sit down by yourself, you're totally alone. And whatever arises in the mind stream, don't accept it, don't reject it, and don't ignore it. And of course, as I've said, by watching that, you see you can't quite accomplish that. You're going to be grasping at things that you're trying not to grasp at. ignoring the situations you're really trying to be more clear on, but you just get distracted by something else. But then the awareness starts to expand into the whole mechanism of ego and how that works to protect us. And so teaching is, of course, you don't have to do anything about that, but be aware of it, because it is an illusion. You don't have to fix, you can't fix an illusion.
Kanjima bowing. So again, we're asking questions about the ultimate, and you come back to pointing at receiving.
Yes,
You point us back to the path.
yes.
Is it futile for us to be looking at the ultimate, asking questions about the ultimate?
No. There's nothing that's futile. It's just another polarity, another position to try to control things. Well, that's futile. You shouldn't be doing that. It's not that there aren't things that show up in the illusion that way, and you can work with that where it's at. You can't. Some things you have to have some kind of preparation before you can do it. You want to plant a tree, you have to dig a hole. I mean, simply put, you have to work with relative truth rather than think it's an illusion and try to ignore it or not pay any attention to it because it's unreal. Yashin, yes, something for me or for Kanjima?
For you. When you are saying that you see illusion when you look around, is this the wisdom in you which sees that illusion?
I don't know. I would say the way I understand what you want to know, I would say yes. But it's not a position on something. And no one has wisdom. Wisdom doesn't have anyone. No one has wisdom. Wisdom is not a point of view. It might be more like no point of view. But even that would miss. It's pretty hard to describe it. It's an open dimension. The closest to image that I've found, and not that there aren't more, is it's like the sky. The sky is not anything. But in order for anything to happen, there needs to be space, or clouds, or all the things that happen in the sky. But the sky isn't affected by any of it. But the sky is completely aware of all of it.
Thank you. If wisdom knows that this is illusion, does it also know what is real?
It's not particularly worried about that, because then you go to real and unreal, more polarity. We have to start out addressing the attachment that people have to this world. It's so important to win and so important to get control and make sure your kids mind you and all of the other things that people are doing from the kitchen table right on up to the heads of state and all those situations. So that's why it's taught. This is unreal, so that you can begin to see your attachment to this as something solid, something that needs to be controlled. Seeing it's unreal, like a movie. Interesting, the movie is, life is, but it's fundamentally unreal.
When you said that wisdom sees confusion and it is like looking at the mirror, is it because there is only wisdom? And thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Narbo bowing, you were talking about the ground is, with Kanjima, about the ground is suffering and the path is received. But you didn't get to the fruition. What is the fruition?
I have no idea. The path is the goal. It might take a while to see that. I keep looking for something else. Just a path. You've heard that said before, haven't you? Yeah, that's a goal.
I think it's a book.
Huh?
It's a book.
It's a book? Are you a bookie?
Yeah.
Me too. Difficult to make a comment on the whole thing. It's just so difficult to use concepts and not be trapped by the conceptual situation of tables, chairs, rugs, people coming and going, emotions, negative emotions, positive emotions, and all the other things that show up on the internet and in our lives and in our families. It's just so convincing. We just believe our emotions. And we hurt each other because we are so convinced we're right and someone else is wrong. It's a painful situation. And of course, I'm very biased when it comes to this. You might want to find out who you are rather than get your identity from what's happening around you, or who triggered your emotions. They're your emotions. Receive your emotions. Receive the sound of the birds. Receive the arthritis in your knee if you have it. Receive, receive, receive. Are there any questions? You can close.
Yes, one.
Yes, do you have a question?
Sure.
Is it a really long one?
Might be.
Okay. Good.
Sokuzan bowing. For Kondrima first.
But I wanted a question. I know it's going to be for me.
That's a different question I ask her.
Yeah, you can ask her.
Because then it's.
But I'll help her out if she doesn't know what it is.
Okay. What is it that saw the insight?
Ego.
I don't know.
What is it that sees insight?
Did you say ego? I say to some extent it's like that, but that's all right as long as at the same time ego sees that, a consciousness sees that ego is not real. There's always consciousness is a primary reference point, which is no reference point at all. The sky doesn't even know it's there because it's not there. It's empty of anything. So the knowing part of the consciousness part shows up as the sky, like the sky. It just doesn't miss anything. Smallest bird, largest mountain, doesn't miss it and doesn't judge one as better than the other.
Sokuzan bowing. So when Kondrima answers ego, I want to ask, well, what saw that ego was seeing insight?
Awareness. But I think awareness can be at the service of ego. And so if there's a viewer, an objective viewing of that, a witnessing of that, I mean, it's all consciousness. So there's no sense in breaking it up into parts. I had a question too. Go ahead.
I don't know how to ask further. Thank you.
And close. You have something else? Something for me, or go ahead. We'll take one more question, then we'll close. Make it a real easy one. Kondrima's going to ask me a really easy question.
It was slipping away and now it's gone.
It worked. Distraction. No, did you have a question?
I did, but it was something along like what Chokodawa was asking
Was-
about awareness. When I answer ego, he asked, what is aware that ego is aware? And my kind of immediate response to that is, it doesn't make sense to break consciousness down continually.
So would you say just awareness is aware? Say that?
But then what is the difference between awareness and consciousness? Because you were saying earlier that consciousness doesn't know.
Awareness is a part of, seems to be a dynamic that looks, just like that. Look across, look out the window, you're not looking at the altar, you're kind of ignoring this. The eyes are conscious in one direction, ears have a little bit more, a little less directionality to them and are more likely to understand directions through the way sound bounces around, just like people who are sight impaired might make clicking sounds or something to get an idea of what the shape of the room is like, or how far the wall is away, or sense other people in the room doing that.
So, about consciousness without the ego would not experience insight, would not, recognize a change in knowing. Didn't know, now know. It would just be present to whatever is showing up, or just receive whatever is showing up.
It wouldn't even receive because it's not separate from it. The path of observe, receive, and relax, or the observe and just receive, just that part, that's only a path as long as there's the idea that there's someone who can even do that. There's a person, so that has to do with the path quality of it is still an ego, albeit fairly refined, but there's still a self who's on the path, slowly understanding and getting somewhere with understanding. Whereas the ultimate, or the down path and fruition, a relative way of saying it is, the fruition is the path. The path is the goal. Another way of saying it is nothing happens. No one sees anything. No one misses anything. No one, there's no one.
Kanjama bowing, so as long as there's insight, there is ego.
Seems that way. There's someone who's seeing something more clearly. Very good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions.